So I decided that I, needed to start dating. I really didn't think it was a big problem. I always thought, I'm just gonna meet somebody, Then I realized I'd been single too long. You know how I knew that? This is really true, and it's really, really sad. My condoms kept expiring. Like again and again. 3 times! Oh my Lord, I gotta get out there. Okay, the other reason I knew, and this happened not that long ago, it was really awful. So I'm asleep, and I found it oddly gratifying when my cat licked my lips, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta get dating, I gotta start dating. So Lindy and a few of my other friends were together. They were all putting me online. They go, you need to answer at least the minimum number of questions, which was 50 out of 1,000. But there were some I could not answer. I'll tell you about those in a minute. The first thing was the profile picture. I picked something funny, friendly, right? The next morning I get up and they say, do you have any messages? Let's see what's on there, There were a lot of hookup calls. It was a lot of like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Where do you live? I could come over now. I'm like, what? This is just disgusting. So my daughter had called, I think, during the drunken online pudding, and so she called the next day. How's the online dating going, Mom? I said, it's disgusting. They're so awful. I can't believe it. Blah, 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 blah. She goes, well, let me look at your profile. So I give her my profile log on, and she doesn't even look at any of the words yet. And she goes, oh my God, Mom, seriously? I'm like, what? And she says, oh, a yoga pose? Oh, I'm so flexible. I can do anything. There was the question of how do you trim your hair? So I'm like, I don't even know what to say about that. So I called my friend Brenda Jacobs, the gynecologist, and I said, you see a lot of views. So can you tell me, is an afro in style anymore? She says, no, it's not. I got a lot of work to do. Okay, so then I decide, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it into a little rectangle, and I'm going to etch the word welcome. It never hurts to be nice, right? Even technology, I first started dating, I had a new smartphone. I worked at home, I was a contract worker, so I had my text messages read aloud. I never had to go in very often, but once in a while you get called into these big meetings and you do a little presentation. Well, this one was like 4 hours long, and everybody was sitting around this big conference table, like 30 people, and everybody had their pagers, and it was back when we still had pagers, and cell phones out and everything, and I had mine out as well. And I had a very fun date the night before. Yeah. So in the middle of the presentation, I hear, you were so hot last night. Funny, I don't know where that came from. And after everybody stops looking around, I do the best acting I've ever done. You put your hand on top of the phone, just hold it there for a while, and then slowly slide it down and put it in my lap, and I turn the volume down. About 3 or 4 minutes later, I hear, you were really amazing! I turned the volume up, not down. No. Technology. Well, we were going out on a date, as a guy I dated, only once. I'd had coffee with him. What you're supposed to do, you're supposed to have coffee now, and then you decide if you want to see each other again. So we'd had coffee, and we decided to go out. So we were going to go out to dinner. And so I forgot my sweater, and I went into my bedroom to get it, and he followed me in. And he goes, what do you do with that? And he's looking at my big bottle of Vaseline Intensive Care next to my bed. And I'm like, do with what? And he's like, that. And I said, I put it on my feet at night because I have bad calluses. We didn't go to dinner, funny thing.